Star Citizen has a massive amount of funding, raising over hundreds of millions of dollars throughout its development. Within its community, there are whales, backers that have spent tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to support and fund the game. Why do they do it? Is it just Star Citizen, or have they done that with other games? Do they regret their investment? What got them into the game? Do they feel scammed or duped? Are they playing and enjoying the game now? We ask these questions and more. We have someone I would define as a whale with us, who is also one of my friends and a big supporter of the channel. Hello, I'm here today with a member of the Star Citizen community. Before you introduce yourself properly, approximately how much money have you spent on Star Citizen?
So let me just pull it up. I use Hangar Explorer because I have so many ships. But I will pull up the exact amount here in a minute. But it's over 100,000 at this point.
That's monstrous.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I don't know if I regret it yet. I don't know. We'll see.
I was going to say, is this from the from the start of the announcement of basically when they started crowdfunding? Was that from then, or when did you actually get into the project?
Let me see here. Looks like 2017 is when I bought into the project.
So, you're not super early as a backer, okay?
And I started with the War Pack, so that's an old pack. I don't think it's available anymore. It was $5,100 at the time.
Just a nice cheap package. A nice cheap package to start with.
Yeah, and I think at the time in 2017, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I remember from 2017 was jumping in, and it was just a hangar at the time and nothing else. And I was like, oh shit, what did I just buy? Because I didn't really research it.
No, so I think in 2017 we actually had the Crusader area.
Okay, so then I must have just had no idea what I was doing, because I remember being in hangars and being like, this is not what I thought it was, and then looking into the refund policy, and there's no refund policy, and then I was running a tech company at the time, and I was like, well, I gotta go do work, so I'll push that off and deal with it later, and I never did. And 2 years later in 2019, or whenever 3.6 was out, that's when I got a bug up my ass, or a bug to go play a space game, and tried Elite Dangerous, didn't care for it, because you couldn't walk around and get out of your ship or anything like that. Then tried Star Citizen, and it was just, first of all, really scary and confusing. That's the first time gamer in 3.6, because
it still is.
There's no tutorial, nothing. And I watched a BoredGamer tutorial.
Yay!
And here I am.
I appreciate that I would say help in some way. So I haven't really introduced you. So this is JP.
Or Sarge 3v3 in game if you need to spam me, I guess.
If you need to borrow a ship.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of ships. You have multiple ships of you've got multiple 890 jumps and things like that, haven't you?
Yeah, and some of that's just the way I look at it. 100,000 is not a significant amount of money if you consider Vegas. So I'm not a big gambler. I don't like gambling, but I have other members of my family who do enjoy that kind of stuff and have gone to Vegas and spent $25,000 on one-handed blackjack or so. And for me, it's video games and spaceships.
So video games and spaceships, are they your main, or video games in general and PCs and stuff, is that your sort of main hobby, that's where most of your money will go to, that's your leisure money?
Yeah, definitely electronics first. I'm a software engineer by trade. I started hacking Xboxes when I was 12, and I've always loved tech since then. What's kept me around, honestly, is the fact that it's in development. The bug hunting is fun to me because I don't know why it scratches an itch of why would that happen. The only unsatisfying part is that I don't get to then go correct it or see what in the code actually changed or whatever, beyond being able to unpack what you can unpack with open source GitHub tools.
Do you actually think that the alpha-ness of it, the development as the monetization development of the game, that is a development as a service almost, that's actually attracted you to it more and actually got you to effectively stay with the game and spend more money on it?
I believe so, yes. I'm actually scared to death. Like the final game, well, I mean, we all get different information on what the final game is going to look like, and so I don't think there is a set what the final game. But things like Death of a Spaceman scares the shit out of me. Things like real insurance, and especially with this fleet, scares. I'm seriously terrified that I'm going to hate the end game. That I'm not going to like what they decide to do, and it may be for the best. Like they may create the best game ever, and get all the systems perfect. And I'm just afraid I won't like it for whatever reason, for my own personal stuff, you know?
But I think that's a very fair and reasonable worry, because we don't know how each of the individual gameplay loops are going to pan out, and we are backing Star Citizen that's an evolving dream that we just hope that at least some of those game mechanics are going to be ones that we love and enjoy.
Exactly. Not to mention they could what's the word I'm looking for? They could blueprint it, or spell it all out for us, or come up with these amazing ideas, and then we could all get in game and play with it and be like, well, we love that on paper, but in reality that's really boring, or that's not. We need to change it. So it could end up not being. I mean, we're going to discover what's fun and what's not, which is also exciting.
Hopefully, the way that they're sort of developing the game allows for the iteration, and they certainly have done that previously, where they've gone, this gameplay loop is not fun, or this is not complete enough, or this is not appropriate for the game. So hopefully they'll not have any terrible gameplay loops when it's done. But yeah, I think that's very recent to say that. Yeah, the major worry is, what if it's bad when we get it, when it's complete?
Yeah. What if we don't like it?
You said earlier that you got attracted to Star Citizen in 2017. You bought a $5,100 package. Did you go and see a trailer or something? What was that?
I honestly cannot remember.
Okay.
It might have been the Intel Optane drives at the time. We were playing around with those, because I do have the Intel Optane chip.
Yeah, the Saber Raven.
And I remember having those and seeing those. I don't recall what we were doing with Optane drives. I think there was something with our HA clusters at the time, or something like that. Those are high availability clusters. They're for immediate failover, just server racks that are compute agnostic. They don't care what's running on them. If you turn them off and turn them back on, the virtual machine will automatically try to swap to a different server. And Optane at the time was just an interesting prospect. But I think that's what got me into it.
Okay, well that sort of makes sense.
I'm a very impulsive shopper, so.
That's why you have multiple 890 jumps.
Yeah.
Why have you spent so much money on the game, I suppose is what I want to ask. Do you think that helps the development? Is it because that you just want more ships? Why?
So it's a lot of reasons. Originally, what was it originally? I think originally it's because I wanted a specific ship, but you can only get it in the Praetorian pack or something. I don't recall. Then it became, okay, well, if the prices on these things are ridiculous, and
yep.
I was like, I just want to fly around an 890 jump in the end game. Okay, well, I have to pay to repair them. I have to pay to fuel it. I have to pay all this with in-game money. I don't know if I necessarily want to, at the time, play in-game loops to do that. So, I mean, what do I do in real life? Okay, I can take a bunch of assets and lease them out, or make them available and put the assets to work for me. And that was the original idea. I didn't realize how crazy everyone else was in the community at buying spaceships, because most people are. Most people buy multiple ships. And
you thought you were the only one.
I thought I was the only one. I thought I was a unique snowflake, man. Then it evolved to just bugs. Like if a ship, like there's nothing more annoying than pay for a ship and it gets stuck, and it's like, oh, you can do a character reset. I could also just buy another one. And for whatever reason, sometimes that's more appealing to me, especially if it's like a $150 ship or $200 ship, than resetting my account and losing everything. For me, time is money, so I look at, okay, how many hours is it going to take, for me to go from this end of the space station to the other end to go buy all the stuff that's on my character's inventory, and what does that equate to in my time, billable hours or whatever. Hell, it's cheaper to buy a spaceship.
Are you planning to spend more?
I always tell myself I'm never going to spend another dollar, and all I have to do is release another spaceship, and I'll spend more.
Well, at least you're honest.
Do you want to collect them all, essentially?
Yeah, it's like Pokemon. I got to catch them all. There's times where I will see a spaceship or hear of a spaceship, and I'm like, I actually don't own that one. And I'll try to go hunt it down in like StarHanger or something like that. eBay, gray market, so to speak.
Is there anything that you don't have at the moment?
Yeah, because there's a few I've seen. I'm like, and it's to the point where I'm just like, I don't really, no. There's nothing I don't have that I don't want.
Has there anything that you've sort of like seen from the game that's almost made you walk away, or that's had you genuinely worried about the project beyond what we've already talked about we're worried at the end of the game we might not have something great?
I don't know if I'm just feeling optimistic today or what, but I don't think there's anything that's ever made me want to. There's stuff that I've definitely said I'm done. Fuck, forget this game. But I've never done it, so I don't think there really has been anything. There's times where I've thought maybe I need to take a break because I'm getting too frustrated day after day, and obviously nothing's going to change. Day by day, the development's just too slow.
And if you're thinking about taking a break, for example, what does that actually mean to you? Is that like, I'll come back next major patch, or is that I'll just whenever I next fancy it?
That's what it would be in a logical sense, but no, I just tell myself that. It doesn't actually happen. I'm just too addicted to the idea of the game that,
yeah.
when I sit down and I'm like, what game do I want to boot up? And there's lots of games I like. Tom Clancy's Division 2. Watch Dogs 2 is one of my big favorites. And actually just played Halo MCC the other day with another friend and had a blast. But when I think about what do I want to boot up first and what's the most relaxing, it's Star Citizen.
How much Star Citizen do you play on average a month or a week?
It's probably close to like almost 40 hours.
Okay. So do you have a favourite ship?
Oh, it's the 890.
Well, I assumed it was, but it could have been anything. Like, I assume you've got like an Idris M and stuff like that, and I suppose, but they're not out yet.
They're not out yet, and I may like them. It's really going to depend on... Obviously, they're not going to be a solo, but are you going to be able to fly it around as a single person? Or will that multi-crew, you have to have an engineer, you have to have someone else on board to even start the damn thing? Will that already be out? But right now, no, it's the 890. That's why I have so many of them. I've been waiting for ship-to-station docking since 3.6. I've been waiting for them to fix elevators on the 600i, which is my second favorite ship.
When you're playing Star Citizen, are you mostly flying around chilling, or are you mission running and trying to make money?
I'm in a group with like 4 other guys right now. I think we were just hunting bounties. I think we were about to go mining, and then I was like, hey, I gotta hop off for a bit, or hop off voice for a bit. But I don't know what they're doing now. They're not quite right next to each other. But no, normally I just hop in my org's Discord and play with those guys, and most of those guys are EU.
How big's your org that you're currently in then?
So we're actually a coalition group of orgs, but really we only have one, and it's actually not that many. It's only like 50.
Okay.
We get lots of people coming through, and we have diehards that are on every day.
Your whole org could fit in one of your ships.
Yeah. If only we could all get on the same server easily.
Yeah, indeed. That is true. Do you consider yourself a whale?
Yeah, I mean, it's a definition thing, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much say if you... I don't know. What would you call a space whale?
Someone that spent $100,000 on Star Citizen?
Yeah, I don't know how.
I'm more curious whether you define yourself as a whale.
Definitely, if you have that golden spaceship, you're definitely there.
It's actually quite relevant that you mentioned about people spend that sort of money in Vegas. The term whale comes from people who put down very large bets at casinos.
Yeah, the only difference is they get free shit back, which, I don't know, CIG is kind of lacking in that area.
Have you ever funded any other games with large amounts of money in a similar way to what you have with the Star Citizen?
Nothing, no. I pretty much only bought AAA games besides this.
Do you know anyone else, like in your group of friends, that spent as much as you have, or anyone that spent lots of money as well?
I've heard rumors of people in the same thing, but people usually don't advertise that. Not something that even myself I try to not, especially when I first meet someone, I want them to not judge me too quickly.
Yeah. Hey guys, I got loads of spaceships. Yeah, got loads of money. Exactly. Hey.
Especially when people are talking about like, oh man, I just worked my ass off this week and I really want to get this, I don't know, MSR and I just don't know if I can. The last thing I want to do is tell them, oh well, it took me 10 seconds to decide whether I want it or not, because it's not. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some people obviously.
It's a significant amount of money for them.
Well, yeah,
and they really believe in the project.
I think it's exactly what you said earlier. Like some people go to Vegas and put a load of money down on blackjack. Some people have the financial liquidity and sort of disposable income. You might be quite lucky to have the disposable income. You might have worked for it. You might have got it from various other means. But some people have that, and it allows you to be able to purchase spaceships. I'm glad you're not in a position where you're bankrupting yourself to buy those spaceships. What about pay to win? Do you consider what CIG are doing with selling these ships pay to win? Because obviously you're buying loads. Is that pay to win for you? Because obviously you don't have the time, or you just go, actually, it's just easier for me to buy these? Or is it sort of like, well, I'm just cutting out the time I would have spent?
I don't know. I mean, it used to, you could argue it used to be pay to win because all you had to do was buy a Retaliator with how terrible the missiles were, but they balanced that. And I think that they will continue to balance it. Are you going to be able to take a Drake Buccaneer and go up against an 890 jump easily? Probably not. I don't know if that necessarily makes it pay to win. Because as the pilot of an 890 jump, even if I have turret gunners, it's still not that easy to necessarily kill you, and you can just quantum away.
So you see the balance and the fact that you can't just go, well, I'm going to buy this and just win anymore. Means it's less pay to win.
Yeah, and I think it'll get less and less and less as time goes on. And the only thing is, if they completely get rid of buying ships, I think that would be bad.
What about the dynamic events? So Xenothreat. Did you play during Xenothreat? I
did play during Xenothreat.
What did you think?
Okay. I don't know what technology it's. What does it do for the game engine? What does it do for their code base? What does it? I don't see the benefit to worrying about dynamic events right now. beyond creating something that's fear of missing out syndrome so you can generate more income. And that's okay by me, by the way, too. I'm a capitalist, so if they just came out and said that, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Well, there's certainly a little bit of fear of missing out with those events. I mean, that's it gives you reasons to play each of the major patches, and part of that is fear of missing out for sure. But did you think the gameplay was fun, or was it just sort of like, yeah, it's okay, but I'm waiting until this to be a lot more developed?
I think it was okay. I think I had a problem with the crime stat system. I think there was a few bugs here and there. It was just meh. It's like any other game loop. It was just meh. The most fleshed out game loop, in my opinion, I'm sure is mining, right? That's one where you can look at and go, wow, they actually continue to iterate on it. They're actually trying new things. It feels like they have a good, solid code base for that.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the sort of short term for Star Citizen? Something that you're like, oh, actually, I'm quite excited for this, and I hope it comes out.
Nothing that pops out at me.
Okay.
I can go look at this roadmap real quick, which I'm pulling it up. But nothing that I can think of because it all scares me right now. Between 3.6 and 3.7, that's when server-side object container streaming came out. And that was like night and day. And that probably hooked me more than anything.
Okay.
I was like, wow, these guys, I mean, it's possible they could be doing it, right? And the frame rate, for me at least, went way up. Significantly better experience between 3.6 and 3.7. And then we started getting those weird train bugs. And that was really cool to me. Because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, interesting. Now we have these bugs from the trains. That's got to have something to do with server-side object container streaming. It's the only thing that's changed, right?
The last major question I have for you is there an amount of time that you would wait for Star Citizen before going no more? Or are you just interested in the project? Just if it went on for another 10 years, just in development, you'd still be with it?
I think it depends on what that looks like, those next 10 years look like. I think that between 3.6 and today and the progress they made in 2019 versus 2020, even with the COVID exception, I think it's slowed to a pace that is unacceptable. But, what does that mean? I'm still going to play the game, but just to a level that's frustrating. And I'd like to see more work on back-end technology. If the Vulkan renderer was coming quicker, or just better frame rates in general, less server desync,
I largely agree with you. If they're running a quarterly major update and sort of showing the game off as it's a playable and focusing on the word playable in Playable Alpha, then having the core systems, having the core engine, having their Gen 12 renderer, having graphics options, having a load of that core gameplay sorted and engine stuff done would be very beneficial and should be focused on. Anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything else you'd like to say?
Is it going to get better, Bored?
Now it's like one of our late night talks.
Tell me it's going to get better.
I need to know it's going to be all okay.
I can't tell you it's all going to be all okay. I just looked at how much crypto I had, and that's gone down significantly. Even during this, it's gone down by like another 17% or something. It's pretty sad. So I can't tell you it's going to be all okay. However, I can tell you that I do genuinely believe that Star Citizen will be a pretty good game when it's done. At bare minimum, there's going to be some of those gameplay loops you're going to enjoy.
It'll be a good game.
Well, I think certain element. It depends on what you're looking for from the game, and some people aren't going to enjoy the same gameplay loops that I am, and some of the gameplay loops that I'm excited about now are going to be disappointing, and hopefully some of the ones I'm not so excited about now are going to be pretty good. And I do think that it's going to be genuinely pretty good, if not great, if not, well, the game that I've been looking forward to for I don't know how long have I been covering Star Citizen? 6 years, 7 years now. It's a long time I've been covering Star Citizen now.
Do you think you'll look back on it and regret it at all?
Regret my coverage of it and that I haven't done anything with my life.
That's a little harsh. But you said it, not me.
No, I don't think I will. Even if Star Citizen collapsed, yeah, I would not regret my time and enjoyment that I had with Star Citizen in the community. However, okay. I think quite the opposite. I think I'm going to look back on it proudly, fondly, and also be at a Star Citizen fan event in 5 years' time going, the game's out! That's what I hope.
That's when our minds will explode. We'll be like, I don't understand. What do you mean it's out? What does that mean? The few last things that I wanted that we didn't discuss was the new studios for the Planet stuff.
Okay, yeah, the Turbulent Headed Studio.
That scares me because of Mythical Man Month. Adding more people to a project doesn't necessarily reduce the time the project comes out. It could have a negative effect on it.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've studied Mythical Man Month. Do you need me to explain the topic at all? Or
that would be great if you could summarize it really briefly, because that would the fantastic video.
Okay, I'm going to butcher it, so everyone in the comments can just tell me how terrible I am at understanding and reading comprehension. But it's a very famous software engineering book, and it goes through and talks about management and behavioral psychology as it applies to a software engineering project. And the basic summary, or the idea is, it actually created something called Brooks' Law. Oh, thank you, Wikipedia. But basically, adding more manpower to a late software project makes it later.
Okay.
And that's what it just talks about in this whole book from 1975. And the second thing is, I wish there was a funding model that made sense where I could pledge for game functionality other than just ships. And I think I've talked to you about this before, but it would be great if I could be like, hey, I really love trade. How do I spend $700 so that it's going to trade? What is, beyond just buying a ship? Because if I buy a ship, they have to build the ship,
You want to sponsor a developer, basically.
Exactly.
Like, which one of your coders is doing this? Him. I want to give him money so he can carry on doing that.
Yeah, and only that, nothing else.
Adopt a developer.
Adopt a dev.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't know what that funding model would look like. The current funding model scares me because it feels like they keep having to pumping out more and more ships, which, again, ironically, you run into that Mythical Man Month idea of, as they keep adding more ships, that's more code for them to maintain. That's more objects for them to maintain, more entries, more everything. It's also going to, every single time you get a new ship, doesn't it make you feel like your other ships just aren't as good anymore? Like when the MSR came out, did you still love the Carrack as much?
That's a good point, because the Carrack used to be my favourite ship, and then it became the Mercury Star Runner.
As it did for a lot of people.
That is true, but I still love my Sabre, for example, fighter-wise.
And my favorite's the 890 Jump, but I barely fly it ever. That's all I had. I assume we're out of time.
Thanks for doing this. Very much appreciated.
Hey, thanks for having me. I was really looking forward to it.
I've been talking to JP. I am BoredGamer. Zin was also here. Say goodbye, Zin.
Goodbye, Zin.
Thanks very much for that, JP. Genuinely super appreciated.
Anytime.
JP also plays in the group Soul Survivors Coalition, and you can be part of that group too if you want to play some Star Citizen with them. I will chuck a link down to their Discord below. Oh, what's this? I just found all your search history online. You filthy boy, buying spaceships and going on Ship Hub. Zin, show a picture of a sexy ship or something. You should have used NordVPN. It's a VPN, obviously, and it has my seal of approval because I chill for them. Use the links below to get a discount and help protect your data, identity, privacy, and to help with online accessibility. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and June is no different. We are giving away a Mercury Star Runner to one lucky viewer that comments on one of my videos made during June on the YouTubes. Just get involved in the comment section, ask a question, or tell me what you think about the video or the subject we were discussing. Thank you so much to my channel members who have pressed the join button below my videos, and my Patreons as well. Going the extra mile really, really helps the channel. Say thanks for helping the channel, Zin.
Thanks for helping the channel, Zin.
Consider becoming a channel member or Patreon as well, and maybe you'll get some poorly photoshopped naughty spaceship shots. Ooh, saucy. Thanks for watching and all your support.